The sky above Carthus burned red. Explosions rippled across the alien landscape as human dropships screamed through the atmosphere, leaving trails of fire behind them. Below, the ground war had already begun. The battlefield was a storm of plasma bolts, collapsing structures, and the constant roar of armored walkers. For Sergeant Daniel Hayes, this war was just another mission. Or at least, that's what he kept telling himself. Hayes had served in the United Earth Defense Fleet for nearly 12 years. He had fought pirates near Jupiter's moons, rebel factions in the outer colonies, and even mercenaries hired by rival interstellar corporations. But the Carthus conflict was different. Human intelligence had labeled the native species of Carthus as hostile and technologically advanced. They were called the Ilari, a tall, elegant alien race with silver-blue skin and glowing violet eyes. The official reports described them as dangerous. Hayes had never met one face-to-face before. Until that day. Hayes and his squad moved carefully through the shattered remains of an alien city. Their armor sensors scanned constantly for movement. Command says the Ilari Royal Forces are retreating east, Corporal Jensen said through the comms. Looks like we're pushing them back. Hayes didn't celebrate. War was rarely that simple. Stay alert, Hayes replied. Victories usually mean someone setting a trap. The squad advanced through broken towers and cracked streets glowing faintly with alien technology. Then the scanners chirped. Movement. Ahead. Hayes raised his rifle and signaled his team to spread out. As they approached the source, they found something unexpected. A crashed alien transport. The hull was torn open, smoke pouring from its engine. Hayes moved closer. Inside the wreckage, something stirred. His squad aimed their weapons. A figure slowly crawled from the shattered transport. An Ilari. But she wasn't a soldier. Her armor was elegant rather than military, etched with glowing symbols. And she was badly injured. Purple blood stained her shoulder and side. The alien woman looked up at Hayes. Their eyes met. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Jensen spoke first. Sergeant, orders say no prisoners. Hayes knew the rules. The war had been brutal. Both sides had suffered enormous losses. Command believed capturing alien officers was too dangerous. The Ilari woman struggled to stand, but she collapsed again. She was dying. Hayes lowered his rifle. Hold your fire, he said. Sir? Jensen asked. Hayes stepped forward slowly. The alien's eyes followed him. There was fear there, but also determination. He knelt beside her. You're not my enemy today, he said quietly, though he knew she probably didn't understand him. Her eyes softened slightly. Hayes opened a medical kit and began treating the wound. His squad stared in disbelief. You're risking court-martial, Jensen warned. Hayes shrugged. Then I guess I'll have to explain later. The alien woman watched him carefully as he sealed the wound with a medical patch. For a moment, the battlefield around them faded. Two soldiers from different worlds, both tired of war. When Hayes finished, she touched his arm gently. Her voice was soft, strange, but somehow he understood the meaning. Thank you, human. Hayes froze. You speak English? A little, she whispered. Before he could respond, distant explosions shook the ground. Enemy forces were approaching. Hayes helped her stand. You need to get out of here, he said. She looked at him with quiet intensity. My name? Lyris. Hayes nodded. Daniel. She repeated the name softly. Then she stepped back and vanished into the smoke. Hayes never expected to see her again. Middle. The rise of a queen. The war ended 6 months later. Not with victory, but with exhaustion. Both humanity and the Ilari had suffered terrible losses. Eventually, diplomats from both sides negotiated a fragile peace treaty. Carthus IV became neutral territory. The surviving soldiers went home. Hayes returned to Earth. Life moved on. Years passed. He left the military and settled in a quiet colony city on Mars. War became a memory. But sometimes, when he looked at the night sky, he wondered what had happened to the alien woman he saved. Lyris. Had she survived? Had she returned to her people? Or had the war claimed her like it had so many others? Hayes never knew. Until the day everything changed. 10 years later, the message arrived unexpectedly. A diplomatic vessel from the Alienempire had entered the solar system, and they had made a very unusual request. They asked for one man, Daniel Hayes. The former soldier was stunned when two government officials appeared at his home. "You're being summoned to a diplomatic meeting," one of them explained. "With the Ilari?" "Yes." Hayes frowned. "Why me?" The official hesitated. They didn't say. 3 days later, Hayes stood inside a massive diplomatic station orbiting Earth. Human and alien representatives filled the chamber. At the center of the room stood a large throne made of glowing crystal. Whispers spread through the crowd. "The AlienQueen is arriving." Hayes blinked. "Queen?" The doors opened slowly, and the entire room fell silent. The AlienQueen entered. She was taller than most of her people. Her silver-blue skin shimmered beneath elegant, ceremonial armor. A crown of living crystal rested upon her head, glowing softly. Her violet eyes scanned the room. Then they stopped. On Hayes. Recognition flashed across her face. Hayes felt his heart skip. It was her. Lyris, the wounded alien he had saved. Now she ruled an empire. The queen walked toward him. The room watched in stunned silence. When she stopped in front of him, she smiled gently. "Hello again, Daniel." Hayes shook his head in disbelief. "You became queen?" Lyris laughed softly. "Yes." "Didn't see that coming." "Neither did I." The room waited nervously. Then Lyris turned to the diplomats. "This man saved my life during the war," she announced. Gasps echoed across the chamber. "Without him, I would not be alive today." Hayes shifted awkwardly. "I just helped someone who needed it." Lyris looked at him with gratitude. "You showed mercy when our people believed only in war." She stepped closer. "And I have never forgotten the secret threat." But the Queen's visit was not only about gratitude. Later that evening, she requested a private meeting with Hayes. They stood alone on a viewing platform overlooking Earth. The blue planet glowed beneath them. "It's beautiful," Lyris said softly. Hayes nodded. "Yeah, it's home." She turned serious. "I didn't come here only to thank you. I figured." Lyris sighed. "There is a threat coming." Hayes frowned. "What kind of threat?" "An ancient enemy of my people. A species called the Vrax Dominion." Hayes crossed his arms. "Never heard of them. They nearly destroyed the Ilari thousands of years ago." "And now they're back?" "Yes." She looked directly into his eyes. "They are coming for both our civilizations." Hayes groaned. "Of course they are." Lyris smiled faintly. "I need someone I trust." Hayes raised an eyebrow. "You trust a human soldier who once disobeyed orders?" "Especially him." She stepped closer. "You saw me as a person, not an enemy." Hayes chuckled. "Guess that worked out pretty well." It did. Then she made an unexpected offer. "Daniel Hayes, I want you to help me lead the alliance between our worlds." Hayes stared at her. "You want me, a retired sergeant, to help run a galactic alliance?" "Yes." "Why?" She answered without hesitation. "Because compassion saved my life. and the galaxy needs more of it. Ending the battle for the future. 6 months later, the Alliance fleet gathered. Human warships, Ilari starcruisers, dozens of other alien civilizations joining the fight. The Vrax Dominion had arrived. Their ships darkened entire star systems. Hayes stood on the bridge of the flagship beside Queen Lyris. "You ever imagine this?" he asked. She smiled.
No.
He looked at the massive enemy fleet. "This is going to be one hell of a fight." "Yes." She looked at him. "But we are stronger together." The battle began. Thousands of ships clashed across the stars. Energy beams lit up space like lightning storms. Explosions rippled through the void. Hayes coordinated fleet movements while Lyris commanded the Ilari forces. They fought side by side, just like they had on the battlefield years ago. But this time, they weren't enemies. They were allies. After hours of intense combat, the Vrax flagship finally fell. The remaining enemy ships retreated into deep space. The war was over. The Alliance had won. Later, as the fleet celebrated victory, Hayes and Lyris stood quietly on the observation deck. "You saved me twice now," Lyris said. Hayes laughed. "I think the galaxy saved itself." She looked at him thoughtfully. One small act of mercy changed everything. Hayes shrugged. "Sometimes that's all it takes." She extended her hand. "For the future of our worlds." Hayes shook it. "For the future." And somewhere beyond the stars, new civilizations would one day tell the story of the human soldier who saved an alien, and how that single moment of kindness helped unite the galaxy under a queen who never forgot.